Back, we continue right here with the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani and Ron Cook with you. Ron, let's talk a little Penn State coming in this game. Penn State nearly lost last week to Appalachian State, but Trace McSorley, when he had to answer the bell, did, and they won in overtime. Pitt, on the other hand, had a fairly easy time. They needed just 10 minutes to build up a 19-point lead on Albany. How do you see this game working out on Saturday night at 8:14?
I wish it wasn't 8:14. I wish it was earlier in the day, but I can't wait. I think it's going to be spectacular. I was there last year at Happy Valley, and I was there 2 years ago at Hinesfield. What a great atmosphere it was 2 years ago. The game should be played every year. I get why Penn State doesn't want to. Pitt needs it a lot more than Penn State, but I wish it was played every year. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I think Penn State has a better team and a better program. But that doesn't mean Pitt can't win this game. I think it means every bit as much to Pitt as it does to Penn State. This is Pat Narduzzi's fourth year, not his first, second, third, fourth year. A win over Penn State would go a long way again to establishing the program. And the other side of that is Penn State thinks it can compete for the national title, get in the national tournament. It has to win this game. So I think it's very competitive for both teams. I can't wait. If I had to pick a winner right now, I'd say Penn State, but what do I know?
Yeah, I think Pitt can win, but I think right now I'm leaning toward Penn State as well. One thing I will say, I don't know that Trace McSorley has the same down-the-field weapons as last year. Plus, you know, I think Miles Sanders is pretty good running back. We've seen him here over his career.
Might not be Barkley, though.
It may not be, but it's hard for anyone to be Barkley.
Right.
What I'm saying is if you can force them to become a passing team almost all night and force McSorley to make plays. On the other side of that, however, I saw Pitt gave up big plays to Albany down the field, and that shouldn't happen too. So we'll see how it goes, but it should be an interesting game as Penn State comes here. And it's sad. I didn't get your thoughts on this. You were on vacation last week about the fact that Penn State has decided to not schedule Pitt.
I know. This probably, well, you're a much younger man than me, Bob. You're still in your 30s. I'm much older. This will probably, next year will probably be the last Pitt-Penn State game of my lifetime. I'm pretty confident of that. I find it sad, but it is what it is. Again, Penn State, they had 105,000 for Appalachian State last week. Pitt had 34,000 plus for Albany. Pitt needs Penn State, not the other way around. They're a national program. Why they're scheduling Temple, I don't get it, but that's just me.
Well, because why not?
They need easy wins.
They need easy wins. James Franklin pretty much said that earlier this year. And listen, I understand. Last year or 2 years ago, they paid a price by losing to Pitt when they did. And it did. One last win cost them.
But 39 points they lost by at Michigan, which is a pretty bad loss.
But if they had beaten
and it's funny, at that point, a lot of us, including me, my hand is up. I thought Franklin could have been fired.
So did I.
At the end of that year, and they turned it around, and they've hardly lost since. And he signed a big contract since then.
Yeah.
So good for him.
I mean, if that's the way you do business, that's fine. I don't have any problem with what Penn State did, and I think Pitt should just go on its own way.
And do their own thing, absolutely.
This whole being bothered by Penn State has gotten old and doesn't need
But there's a lot of jealousy there. I mean, there's a lot of Pitt fans who are jealous of Penn State. And, I get it. I get why they're bitter towards Penn State, but I understand what Penn State is doing here. I'm just sad that we got 2 more games. This could be the last one in Pittsburgh for a long time.
We have a couple of tweets here. Jake is one of them, says, I disagree with Ron. I think the Steelers could make the playoffs without Ben. Easy division. I totally disagree with that.
Without Ben?
Yeah, without Ben, they're going to
I don't think they make it without Ben, without Brown, or without Bell. Now, the division is bad. People are giving a lot of love to Baltimore.
But how many times have you seen bad teams you thought going into a season turn out to be really good teams?
I don't think, they could make the playoffs maybe, but I don't think they can do what they want to do, and that's compete for a Super Bowl without any of the killer bees.
Right. We'll see how that goes, but that all starts on Sunday, and you'll see that game on KDKA-TV. We begin with 11:30 a.m. pregame show. After the game, we have 2 hours of post-game coverage. That's all on KDKA-TV. I'm a little leery about that first game. If I was thinking about it, because that defense is pretty good, and if Le'Veon Bell, let me ask you this: if Le'Veon Bell does come in this week, but it's not tomorrow, does he play on Sunday?
No, if he doesn't come in tomorrow, no.
Yeah,
if he comes in tomorrow, I start him and play him a lot.
You wouldn't give James Conner?
Oh no, I didn't say that. I said a lot. I give James Conner some snaps, but the people who think this offense doesn't lose something from Le'Veon Bell to James Conner, I think they're crazy. Le'Veon Bell's the best running back in the league for me. I want him to play. That's why I want him to come in. But if he doesn't come in tomorrow, no, I don't. I go with Connor and see what happens.
All right, we're going to take a break here at 412-575-2600, and we hope to get some phone calls on the line. Having a little bit of a temporary problem with that. We'll try to rectify it and get your calls. Remember the number, 412-575-2600. Give us a shout right here live on Pittsburgh CW.